Welcome to the concepts you need to know for solving exponential equations in our PreCalculus series. Thank you. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we are going to discuss how do we solve exponential equations. There are 10 questions which we are going to take one by one, starting from the very basic 2 to the power of x equals to 32 to slightly complicated as shown here. So gradually we will learn how do we solve exponential equations. The concept is very simple, and that is if the base, which is like 2 here and 8 there, right? So if the base is same, in that case, we equate the exponents and then find the value of x. So that is going to be our strategy all throughout. So let's begin with the very first set of questions, which are kind of straightforward, but it gives us a very good concept of solving complicated questions. The first one here is 2 to the power of x is equal to 32. The idea is to write 32 as power of 2, right? Now this is very important. You see, we should know the exponents of 2 to begin with. We know 2 to the power of 5 is 32, right? So I like you to make a note that 2's powers are kind of like this. 2 to the power of 0 is 1, 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 to the power of 2 is 2, 4, 2 to the power of 3 is 8, 2 to the power of 4 is 16. 2 to the power of 5 is 32, right? Keep on doubling them, right? 2 to the power of 6 is 64, correct? So as you can see, we can actually write all these 2's powers as doubling them. And it's a good idea to kind of remember them, okay? 256. 2 to the power of 9 is 512. And 2 to the power of 10 is 1024. Kilobytes, 1024 is 2 to the power of 10. It's kind of necessary to remember these powers to move forward. Is that clear to you? Well, clearly, as we said, we need to now just compare the exponents, and we can say x is equal to 5. Since we know that the bases are same, the only way equation is going to be equal is when their exponents are also same. Clear? So we have solved the very first question. Now let's look into the next question, which is minus 3 to the power of x equals to minus 27. Well, 3 to the power of 3 is 27. Minus when to the power of odd number will also give us a negative number, right? So what we'll do here is that 27 we could write as minus 3 to the power of 3. Let me write x there, sorry for that. Minus 3 to the power of x is given to us. 27 we will write as minus 3 to the power of 3. Now when the base is same, the exponent should be equal, and therefore we get our solution, and which is x is equal to 3. Makes sense, right? Once again, we had the same base, so the idea is to get the same base. Now we have 2 to the power of x equals to 8 square. So 2 to the power of x, 8 is 2 cube, right? So we write 2 cube, and then it is to be squared. So in this particular case, you can see applying the power rules, we get 3 times 2 is 6, and that gives us the answer that x is equal to 6. Makes sense. So many times we may have to even change the base. The idea is to get the same base as we have done in all the 3 examples so far, correct? And this is going to be followed. Complications have started in since this time we changed the base of 8 to 2 cube. You see that, correct? So you see how it is important to even remember the series of powers of 2. Now let's take up the next set of questions, which is we have 16 to the power of 2x equals to 8 to the power of 3x. Now this is a challenge question, right? So I'll put a star here. not an easy question to solve. I'd like you to pause the video, solve this question, and then look into my suggestions. Well, in case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on the address given. Now, both 16 and 8 can be written as powers of 2. So we'll write 16 as 2 to the power of 4, and then, of course, we have to the power of 2x, and 8 to the power of 2 is 8 cubed, and then we have to the power of 3x. Makes sense, right? So now, multiplying 4 with 2x will give us 2 to the power of 8x. And on the right hand side, we get 2 to the power of 3 times 3 is 9, right? So we have 9x. Now 8x should be equal to 9x. We have the same base. Yes, we have. Now the idea is to make 8x as equal to 9x. Now, is that possible? Now this is indeed not possible except for one particular value, and which is when x is equal to 0. So this is the solution. You should remember that n to the power of 0 is 1. So both the sides of the equation will be true only for the exponent to be 0. In that case, left and right side will be 1. You get the idea. So this is the only solution of the given equation. Perfect. Now let's take up the next one, which is 9 to the power of x by 5. Now 9 to the power of x by 5 is equal to 27. We can write them as powers of 3, right? So 9 is 3 square. So 3 square to the power of x by 5, correct? And here we get 3 to the power of 3, which is 27. So clearly, 3 to the power of 2x by 5 should be equal to 3 to the power of 3. Since the base is same, we'll equate 2x over 5 to 3 and then find the value of x. Do you see how complication is creeping in? So I hope you're there with me, right? So we get our solution here, which is x is equal to 3 times 5 by 2, right? Which is indeed 15 by 2. So that is the solution for part E of this particular set of questions. So we are midway between this. Now we have 1 over 27 to the power of x plus 3 equals to 1. Can you help me solve this particular question? So we are saying that 1 over 27 to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 1. Now what we can do here is anything to the power of 0 has to be 1, right? So basically we see it like this. You could think like this: 1 over 27 to the power of x plus 3 should be equal to, we can write 1 as 1 over 27 to the power of 0, right? Since anything to the power of 0 is 1. And then we can write x plus 3 equals to 0, or x is equal to minus 3. So we have a solution here, which is x is equal to minus 3. Makes sense. It's a good idea to always substitute the value and check. So if I substitute minus 3 for x, I get minus 3 plus 3 as 0, and that will give me 1. Perfect. So I hope it's absolutely clear. Now here is a slightly more difficult question, which is 4 to the power of x plus 3 plus 4 to the power of x is 260. Let's rewrite it and then solve this question. 4 to the power of x plus 3 plus 4 to the power of x is equal to 260. Now see, 4 to the power of x plus 3 really means what? It means 4 to the power of x times 4 to the power of 3. You get the idea, right? And this is like 4 to the power of x is equal to 260, correct? So you can factor 4 to the power of x now, correct? And what do you get? You get 4 cubed plus 1. Is that clear to you, right? Which is 260, correct? Now what is 4 cubed? Well, 4 cubed is 64, right? 16 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. So we get 64 plus 1 is equal to 260. Is that clear to you? Right. Now we have an equation which can be solved, right? Well, 64 plus 1 is 65. So we have 4 to the power of x times 65 equals to 260, right? So let me divide 260 by 65. what do you get? Well, let's try to divide this one by one. Dividing both by 5, what do we get? 5 times 1 and then 3 is 65. 5 times 5 is 25 and 2. And this can further be divided. 13 times 4 is 52. So basically, 4 to the power of x is equal to 4, right? So we have 4 to the power of x equals to 4. Anything to the power of 1 is the same number, and therefore we do have a solution which is x is equal to 1. Makes sense? You see how we can now solve this particular equation. It's getting complicated, but I think you're understanding the process. Let's go to the next level of questions. Now we have 3 times 5 to the power of x squared plus 3x equals to 12 over 100. This is a beautiful set of questions which will walk you through steps to solve such equations. Well, in case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. So let's try to answer this question also, which is 3 times 5 to the power of x squared plus 3x, right? Kind of quadratic equations are involved now. 12 over 100, right? Well, we could divide that by 12 and rewrite the equation as 5 to the power of x squared plus 3x equals to 12 over 100 times 1 over 3, right? So let's simplify this. 3 goes 4 times and 4 divides into 100 25 times, right? So 1 over 25. So we can now rewrite this equation as 5 to the power of x squared plus 3x equals to 1 over 5 square, correct? Or 5 to the power of minus 2. Makes sense? So that helps you to arrange the equations. We now have the same base and we can arrange the exponents, correct? So the exponents are x squared plus 3x equals to minus 2. Bringing minus 2 to the left side gives us x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals to 0. See, we have a quadratic equation to solve, so we can factor, right? So x plus 2 times x plus 1 equals to 0, and that gives us 2 solutions. This quadratic equation is 0 when x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 1 equals to 0. That gives me a solution of x equals to minus 2, and this gives me a solution of x equals to minus 1, correct? So now, coming to this, I'd like you to substitute these values, check your solution, and then tell me, are both the solutions? Yes, they are. So that is how we're going to solve it. Making sense to you, right? Perfect. See how beautifully we have solved this particular question. Now, next question here is another form of this exponential equation. We have 4 to the power of 2x minus 20 times 4 to the power of x plus 64 equals to 0. Now, how do we solve this? Well, think about a substitution. We could write 4 to the power of x as y, right? In that case, 4 to the power of 2x will be y squared. Do you see? We wrote this exponential equation in a quadratic form. Makes sense, right? So let's rewrite this as y squared minus 20y plus 64 equals to 0. Now, we can factor this, right? 64, we want 20 as the sum minus 20 and product as 64. So how do you get 64? Well, 8 times 8 is 64, but that does not give us minus 20. So what we can do is, let's split 64 and see what can we do about it, right? So 8 is 4 times 2, right? So I'm just writing these numbers to help me find the solution, right? So we need 20, so we could use 4 times 4, which is 16, right? And 4. 16 and 4 can work for us. So we'll rewrite this as y squared minus 16y minus 4y, correct? Plus 64 equals to 0. Does it make sense to you? So we split this 20 into 16 and 4, both negative, of course. So taking y common here, we get y minus 16, and on the other hand we can take 4 common, right? So we get y minus 4 common, right? y minus 16 equals to 0. And now we have y minus 16 as a common factor, and also y minus 4 equals to 0. Do you see that? So we have factored this equation. To get the solution, we have y minus 16 equals to 0, and that gives me the value of y as 16. Well, if y is 16, in that case, 4 to the power of x is 16, right? So 4 to the power of x equals to 16, which is 4 square, and that means x is equal to 2. Makes sense? We got one of the solutions, correct? Using the first factor. Now, let us use the second factor, which is y minus 4. So y minus 4 equals to 0 means that y equals to 4. But y is equal to 4 to the power of x. So 4 to the power of x equals to 4 implies that x is equal to 1, correct? So we have the second solution, x equals to 1, and therefore we have two answers for this, 2 and 1. Makes sense? You see how we are going to solve such equations, right? So this is the idea. So try to factor as we did here. So it's a quadratic form of exponential equation, correct? Let's move forward and take the next example, which is 4 to the power of 2x minus 20, 4 to the power of x plus 64. We just did this. Perfect. So we are now taking the last question, which is 5 to the power of 2x plus 1 minus 2 times 5 to the power of x plus 1 plus 5 equals to 0. Now take this as a test question and try to solve it. Perfect. I hope you've understood the whole process. In case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on the address given. Let's try to solve this question also. So we have 5 to the power of 2x plus 1 minus 2 times 5 to the power of x plus 1 plus 5 equals to 0, right? So we can write this as 5 to the power of 2x times 5 minus 2, and here we have 5 to the power of x times 5 plus 5 equals to 0. I can take 5 common, right? So if I do that, I get 5 to the power of 2x minus 2, 5 to the power of x, right? 5 has been taken common. So that is what we get. Now, I could write 5 to the power of x as y as we did, right? So substituting 5 to the power of x as y, we have 5 times y square minus 2y plus 1 equals to 0. Now this can be factored as a perfect square, right? So we have y minus 1 whole square equals to 0. So that gives us solution of the equation equating y minus 1 equals to 0, right? Because y square will be 0, means y is equal to 1. Now y equals to 1 basically means that 5 to the power of x equals to y, and we are saying y should be equal to 1, and 1 could be 5 to the power of 0. That means x is equal to 0 for the given condition. So that becomes the solution of the given equation. Makes sense to you, right? So with this, we have solved all the 10 questions. You see that? So I hope you have understood the process of how do we solve exponential equations. The idea is very clear. Try to make the same base and then equate the exponents. Some equations are also of the form of linear equations. Some take a form of quadratic equation, right? So factoring skills are also required in solving such equations. I hope it all makes sense. Feel free to write your comments, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. And in case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on the address given. Thanks for your time and all the best.